this was a staging area. Thien, before there was a siege of Quezon, there was a siege of Thien. And this is the furthest north combat base that the United States had during the war in Vietnam. To the other side of this is what was referred to as Leatherneck Square. We used to sweep Leatherneck Square all the time. And there wasn't a time when you didn't go out and you didn't bump into something. Sometimes it was real light, sometimes it was a lot heavier, but you always ended up bumping into something. And there were a couple times when we actually went out into this nonsense. There was a force recon in trouble, and we went to bail them out. We took a small group of 3rd Marines.
Through that thick bush?
Mm-hmm. Well, some of it was there, but not much. This was all defoliated. This was yeah, you can see. Apparently there are lasting effects on people with Agent Orange. There's not that much on trees, on foliage and things, because it's all back. Okay. This would have been stripped bare. All of this there was no vegetation. It would have been bunkers and kind of footpaths from and to the bunkers and
footpaths that the Kong had walked on.
No, it was inside the base. We would have done that, and there would have been revetments for the tanks, and we would have sort of ringed the fire base or the combat base with tanks for extra protection at night. And then during the daytime, we would run road sweeps. There used to be a road here, and we would run up and down. We would run from Thien, would run down to the washout to Charlie 2 down to Cam Low. There were a series of tanks, generally a couple of light sections, 2 tanks here, 2 tanks there, and 2 tanks down below.
So this was your home base? Used to be a base?
This was home. Yeah, this was pretty much home. Yeah. It doesn't look much like home now, does it? But
when were you here?
This was home. Off and on for 13 months.
Oh, this was your home base?
Yeah, this was home base. We did sweeps. I mean, we were out in that other area, but we would do 20-day or 15-day or something like that, and then we'd come back. Dong Ha, of course, was rear area, but you never went back to Dong Ha unless, you were going to go on R&R, or the tank there was something wrong with the engine and you needed to kind of limp back in. The repair shop was back in Dong Ha. So you would drive back in and they'd service the tank, and then you'd come right back out again. So you'd spend 2 or 3 days back in Dong Ha, but not very much. So this really was this highway was my home for most of my 13 months.
So this was your base camp to come back and get a decent meal and a good night's sleep and a
sea rats.
Still sea rats.
Oh yeah.
Shower?
Cold water.
Well, but better than in the field.
Well, yeah, it's a shower. Yeah, it was a shower.
The Hilton compared to the field.
Yeah, yes, that's true.
You had to have cold water, huh? Wow.
Huh? Yeah, we never. Yeah.
Marines are tough.
This was underwater recently.
The shell? That's possible.
You think
could have been just drudged up
just run the water past the tank idling or something?
It would warm it up.
But
ingenuity,
Well, we took, I don't know, you probably did the same thing, 55-gallon drums, set them up on top of a wooden structure and some sort of a pipe.
In the rear they did that.
And screw it down, and then that was that, yeah. And then every now and then you'd be out in because the local facilities were also built kind of that way. And every now and then you would be out doing your business, and Charlie would decide to throw something your way.
Yeah.
You have to run and hide. So,
yeah.
Did you spend some time out here?
Most of my time.
Okay.
Yeah. Most of my time.
This is right here, down here?
No, up here. This is Thien. This is, you can see, if you look through the trees, you can see the river. The 17th parallel is just about out there.
But were these trees here when you guys were here?
No. This was all stripped bare. This was all denuded, completely denuded.
So these trees grew in 40 years, huh?
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I do believe the command bunker, we're not far from the command bunker. Up here. So, probably in this area up here.
Was there a landing strip here, or
no?
Pad?
It was a combat base only. So by road. There was a road,
Okay.
from Camelo to Charlie 2, from Charlie 2 to the washout, and the washout to Thien. And it was, well, the only reason why the road was there was to resupply Thien, but everybody in between. But we'd sweep the roads every day. The area from, once you cross the Camelo River up here, Bob talked about this before, is a free fire zone.
Okay.
There was nobody out here but bad guys, and so if you saw somebody, you could shoot them and kill them.
Okay.
So, and then that direction, there was an area cornered by the sea, Thien on the north, Alpha 4 on the, Charlie 4 on the south, and Camelo, which was referred to as Leatherneck Square. And you know, we would sweep that. As Bob said, we
Was it a
owned the day
campsite,
and
or again, was it just kind of like you camped outside? And
No, this was a regular combat base. So there were bunkers. We were just talking about there were some showers. We had some showers. There was a facility for that fondly passed as a toilet. One of the downsides is particularly when you're a new guy, you end up we used 55-gallon drums cut in half. Let's see if I can put this politely. We filled them with diesel fuel, and every now and then the new guys would have to pull the drums out and burn the drums. So about 2-3 times a week you would, so you wanted to get old fast. Didn't want to be new too long.
what do you remember most about being out here?
What do I remember most? Oh, the people probably. Didn't really know very much about them, but you got real close real fast. Because everybody protected everybody. That's just the way it was. So, yeah, it was probably the people. Yeah.
And did it look familiar at all?
Well, the river does. I'll say that. I mean, that's again. I have an anchor that doesn't move the river, so I can look out and say, yeah, if that's the river, then I think I know where I am. The foliage and everything, of course, is so dense again that my best guess is that the command bunker was right up here, and then we would. This is a hill, and we would ring the hill. The whole top of the hill was covered. There was a sign that said a couple things. One was actually Thien is, at least the way we translate it, is translated as the place of the angels. There were a sign on the back said. Actually, the sign on the back said two things. The first one was pretty serious. It said, "When I die, I'm going to heaven because I served my time in hell." And then just below that, it said, "When you return, next time bring beer." So.
Gotta have a little humor.
The battery from BRC 25.
What is it?
Oh, yeah.
That the batteries from BRC 25.
What are they?
Batteries, old batteries.
Oh yeah.
Box.
What did they go in? Guns?
No.
What were they using?
So,
Batteries for what?
Yeah, the big one, the big box. Okay.
Radios.
Big flat box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't want to have to carry it, though.
How long were you out here?
It was heavy.
12 months and 25 days, roughly, in country.
Where did you park your tanks along?
Yeah, there were revetments that ringed the base, and at least as I recall, a platoon was stationed up here, and then another platoon was broken up between between the washout and Charlie 2. There was a light section at the washout and a heavy section, 2 tanks at the washout and 3 tanks at Charlie 2. And out, I don't think we can see it from here. There's a hill. We used to the last time I ventured out this direction, there had been an arc light, and they wanted us to go out and take a look and see what kind of damage had been done. And the first couple nights we got mortared, and then the last night we were out, we got clobbered. So we were with Mike 3-3. For those of you who are familiar with Ollie North was the first lieutenant at that night. I didn't know that until about a month ago.
Oh, really?
But he was the first lieutenant for the Grunts.
Oliver North?
Oliver North. Yep. And true to form, if you read his account of that night, it doesn't sound anything like anybody else's account of that night. So
In what way?
it's just different. I won't think I'll say any more than that. It's just not. I was stationed next to, my tank was stationed next to the captain. I was the acting platoon sergeant at that time. And he said stuff that I don't remember. I just, he supposedly communicated with the captain. The captain was the last tank officer killed in Vietnam. Third tanks rotated home.
Don't say it's canvas from the tent.
Yeah, that's probably true. We didn't. You mean from the bunkers?
Yeah.
Because they were sandbagged into. I mean, it might have been a tent, but it was sandbagged into. We were in the ground most of the time. So, but yeah, he was in. It was about 2 months later that third tanks rotated home. Some of the guys that I knew actually had their tour extended in order to take the tanks on back to first the Philippines, and then I think they ended up at Pendleton. And then 3rd Marines was disbanded. The colors were furled, actually, not disbanded. The colors were furled shortly thereafter.
Put to rest. Temporarily.
Yeah, because they've come and gone. They were unfurled in World War II, right after 1st Marines got into it at Guadalcanal. So they rebuilt 3rd Marines, and 3rd Marines lasted from roughly that time until the end of Vietnam, when they sent them home. And it was probably 72 when they furled the colors and put them away. So.
How long were you actually here? You were here for?
Off and on the entire time.
Oh, off.
Yeah,
Okay.
this was home.
This was your home.
Yeah, this was home.
And how did
For
you
what it was.
For what it was.
Yeah, for what it was. I was, most of the time it was okay. You dodge a bullet every now and then. I mean, rocket. We used to get shelled every now and then. 122s. It's, again, it's not much different than what Bob had. It's pretty much the same. They'd lob a few rounds in. You could hear most of the time you could hear the pop. And everybody was hyper-tuned to that. So when you heard the pop, you moved to the bunkers quickly. And so regularly nobody got, as a routine, no one got hurt. So.
Where was your searchlight?
Where was my
You
searchlight?
said there was an arc lamp or anything?
No,
Arc light?
was a B-52 strike.
Oh, okay. I'm looking at these
Dennis is
tiny
at it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually there are searchlights. It's a xenon searchlight, but you didn't use it very often.
Because you give your
It
position away?
drew too much fire.
Drew too much
hang on a
fire.
second.